Hi, everybody. This is Gad Saad. 4+ years ago, I released a sad truth clip wherein I introduced a new field, which I coined as social justice mathematics. And as I have often reminded you, my satire always proves prophetic. So I just came across an article. Let me just mention the title here. This is in Borders in Mathematics Pre-Service Teacher Education. The title of the article is Queering Mathematics, Disrupting Binary Oppositions in Mathematics Pre-Service Teacher Education by Catherine Ye and Laurie Rubel. Let me first read you the abstract. Now, I feel that I am well qualified to comment about the laudable attempts to queer mathematics because I have an undergraduate degree in mathematics and computer science. In my MBA, I wrote a mini thesis in operations research, which is a field of applied mathematics. And then in my doctoral training, I have a minor in statistics. And of course, in my academic career, I've used all sorts of fancy data analytic techniques when analyzing data. And so I always thought that if there ever were a field that is free of identity markers, it would be mathematics by definition, but apparently not. So here we go. So here's the abstract of this paper titled Queering Mathematics. Borders, territorial, political, economic, and ideological, are processes of social division. They monitor and exclude and are typically regulated, patrolled, maintained, and defended by an array of power regimes. But borderlands are also sites of movement, agency, and resistance. We draw on Thomas Nail's and Gloria Anzaldua's theories about borders to elaborate on processes of social division around gender and sexuality in mathematics education. The goal in this chapter is to recognize and challenge salient borders around gender, sexuality, and other identity categories in mathematics education, and to work toward opportunities for hybridity created by these borders and in the blurring or queering of them. We provide a review of literature documenting the extent to which sexist and heterosexist ideologies patrol, reinforce, and perpetuate borders in mathematics that often marginalize women and queer people. We conclude the chapter with recommendations around how to blur borders around gender and sexuality in mathematics pre-service teacher education. So I then quickly perused through the book chapter in question so that you don't have to, and I came across the following paragraph. I'm going to read it for you, and I really want you to listen what is being said here. This is not a satirical piece. As far as I know, this is not the folks who did the grievance studies project, the Bogosian et al. Project, which of course I discuss in the Parasitic Mind. So here we go. This is a paragraph from the paper in question. Another way that Western mathematics has been recruited to support processes of social division around gender and sexuality is through its own reliance on binary thinking. There is a plethora of examples whereby binary logic dominates. A quadrilateral, for example, is a rectangle or not. So it's binary, you see. A number is even or odd, but never both. A function crosses the x-axis or it does not, and so forth. Since mathematics is positioned as neutral and ascribed power in supposedly representing an abstract truth, its disciplinary emphasis of binary logic perpetuates those ways of thinking as normative and justifies this logic as a kind of natural truth. Any attempts at disrupting or queering binary thinking can therefore be seen as incongruous to or even in conflict with mathematics. Instead, Mathematics is itself a product of social relations, and so binary perspectives that dominate social relations, like gender and sexuality, extend to it. This, of course, suggests that as we blur borders around gender and sexuality in mathematics education, such an expansion will create space for other kinds of logics in mathematics. I didn't read the cited references here, but let me restate again. So binary thinking in mathematics, it's a rectangle or not. It's a isosceles triangle or it's not. It's a prime number or it's not. All of these things, if you do this derivative, this is the right answer or this is the wrong answer. All of these things are forms of binary thinking, and therefore inherently they're transphobic because, for example, gender fluidity. It's difficult to imagine either this level of stupidity, this level of infested parasitic thought processes, if we can call them thought processes, duplicity. It's unimaginable that someone can actually write something like this. Think of it this way. Life itself is transphobic because a person is either alive or dead. They're either pregnant or not pregnant. They either have children or they don't have children. They either have cancer or they don't have cancer. They either have diabetes or they don't have diabetes. You see, you could always, in a transphobic world, you can always create these binaries, and therefore it's transphobic. Just like there are some people who have functioning brains and those who write garbage like this who don't. You see how it's binary? So life is transphobic. If you don't fight against this nonsense, not only will your children be parasitized by this garbage, but you'll be wasting your hard-earned money paying for tuition when your children should be studying all sorts of wonderful things in the humanities, in the social sciences, in the natural sciences. There's an endless number of intellectual landscapes that could allow us personal growth, soul growth, intellectual growth, and yet we fund this kind of nonsense. And by the way, nothing in what I said in any way links to the fact that all people, including transgendered people and LGBTQ communities, should live free of bigotry. But when you are so ideologically driven that you are, quote, queering mathematics, then you've gone over the cliff. Take care, everybody. Cheers.